Hello and welcome everyone. We have this lightning talk where I'm gonna share you a few tips and tricks about working in a company across time zones. So to give you quite some background, I'm Alex. I've been an Android dev since 2016, and I've been working at Medium, the blog stuff, since 21. And since then, I'm working fully remotely, and I'm facing time zone and some issues with it. And I'll try to share you what we learned individually and as a company. So to give you an overview and some context on how it is at Medium, we're around 80 people, and we are working from West Coast to France. So we're like a really small team. 80 people is not a lot, but we are widely spread inside the US and inside France. Just out of curiosity, if you are in the same kind of situation, can you raise your hand? Okay, kind of few people gonna already maybe know what I will say. So our widest stretch is Paris-San Francisco. And just to give you a quick idea of the overlap, because we have an overlap, we are lucky, we have 2 hours-ish. That's gonna start around 5, 6 p.m. here and gonna start at 9, 10 a.m. Over there. So it's gonna imply people here gonna stay late-ish, and people over there gonna start early-ish. The first thing you could have in mind is that it's easy to stay that late or start that early. Okay, it's gonna be easy for one day, for one night, for a week, for a month. Will it still be easy for a year, maybe many years? You have to keep in mind that we are building something that's going to be sustainable as a lifestyle for maybe many years. And will it be a difficulty when you're going to want to hire more people because of that? And the answer you want to be is no, because the company is going to need to scale, and it should not be an issue when you're trying to hire people. And also have in mind that we are in kind of an easy situation because we have an overlap. If we add Tokyo to the equation, you have no overlap at all, and it's a completely different situation. So how do we do? Spoiler alert, you are going to write a lot, and I'm not talking about code. I'm really talking about async communication. You are going to use a bunch of tools, and if you are not in this situation, you are using the same tools. It's going to be something like Slack or Microsoft Teams, and you are going to write lots of documents, so Google Drive and Notion. So you all use those tools, but it's not about the tool itself, it's about how you use them. So when you are moving to a full written communication, translating what was on your mind is not enough anymore. You have to go a little bit deeper and very, very explicit about it. So when you are going to write a Slack message about, for example, a feature or something that you want to change about feature A in a multiple feature part project, and there will be no impact on other part, on other feature, be explicit about it. Say, I want to change that part of feature A, and I know there will be no change for B and C. And mention also all the side effect it's gonna be. So if there is in the other side some impact on feature B and C, mention them. Something I try to do when I'm writing a Slack message, for example, is to kind of pre-shotting what my coworker are going to say. It takes time to be used to them actually. So it's about opening the door. So when I'm, for example, asking something for a change, or I'm not happy for a Figma design file, I'm gonna say that I know what you are going to say. It's pretty. I have that in mind. I do agree, but I still consider the change I'm requesting, and always try to explore deeper all the door other people can open, and maybe you will want to shut that door or keep it open. If I'm not clear, let me know. Maybe there is one tool you are not using, and I can find quite interesting in that case, is making a Loom video. Loom is a recording screen tools. It allows you to have your face on it. So it can be another way to communicate with people. So in that kind of situation, I will concede that now writing a 2-line Slack message can be a 5-minute task, and you're gonna think a lot about it, but it's gonna be really time saving because people who you are writing to, they will only read it or respond in 10 hours, or depending on what you want, maybe in 48 hours. And you can't allow, you can't have lots of back and forth. You want to save as much as you can of it. So if taking 5 minutes more to write the message save you 48 hours of waiting, it's worth it. So, yep. And message won't be always enough, obviously. So for long discussion and for long explanation, we're gonna write documents. It's kind of obvious, but a document is a long message with titles and figures most of the time. It's gonna allow you to have more specific discussion because you can annotate and comment on those documents, and it gives you an easier way to have a deepened conversation about a specific part. This is kind of obvious, but what I want to share about document is the kind of doc we're using inside the company that have been helping us and that are making our life easier. The first one is when we do a big code change before getting inside the PR, we are planning, we are doing, this kind of document. We are well explaining, I want to do this refactoring, I'm gonna do this migration in 3, 4, 5 part, 5 PR. It's gonna take all those steps, and you can discuss easily before doing any code change, because making code change takes time and takes some of our developer heart at some point. So it gives a pre-way to discuss about them before having them in the PR, because it can be some kind frustrating opening your PR a day later with 60 comments. So avoid that. We avoid that by having this document. When we're running a project, we also have lots of documents. Depending on the size of the project, I will only go for the 3 most important documents we have. The classical project description, you all know about it. You all have it. It's kind of Figma, the scope of the project, metrics impacted, hypothesis, and stuff, very classic, worth mentioning. And one more specific we have is the project launch checklist. It's gonna be really related to what are the service impacted. So we are mobile developer. If we are taking a new API that is targeting service A, service B, and stuff, that's gonna increase a lot the query on that service. We are mentioning that in this document, so the platform team is aware of what we are going to change. And also in this document, we have how to turn on the project. So most of the time we use feature flags, so it's kind of easy. You just switch the Boolean. So it's how you turn it on. But it's also mentioning how to turn it off if something went wrong happened. And if it happened during the time you are sleeping, it won't be you that is going to catch the fire. So it's really important to mention how to turn it off. And sometimes it's not only turning off the feature flag. And then we have the project retro and analysis. You all know about it. And sometimes it's linked to a meeting, which brings me to the how to meeting in that kind of situation. And can we get rid of them? I know there are companies that have successfully got rid of them. We don't. We didn't succeed at it. And meeting are part of how we run Medium. It's bringing some values in project, and it gives us a human part. So we need to make them effective and make them have meanings. So what if you can't go to this meeting due to time zones or whatever? I got a few stuff for you. But firstly, I will flip the table because it's not about when you are attending the meeting. It's mostly about how to organize a meeting. So the more important stuff when you're planning a meeting, in this kind of async world is having a clear agenda and still a very verbose one. We are going to, for example, we are going to talk about this feature. I'm expecting answer A, answer B from this person or from this team. And all that kind of question and all the stuff you want to mention, you share it in the agenda invitation. And you will also share it in a multiple Slack channel saying we are having this meeting at this time. And for this purpose, we want to be sure multiple teams are aware of what's happening, because you might not know, but they would have something to bring to that meeting, and they're going to ask you to join it. So, yep, that's how we plan meeting. At the end of the meeting, we are sending always meeting notes and some recapitulation, all the takeaway and new questions the meeting has bring. From our experience, recording a meeting is valuable, but also not enough, because it's really time consuming when you are missing one to rewatch it, and people tend to not do it. So we're not leveraging that a lot. We've been trying for a few months an AI tool named Granola. If you can try it, it doesn't work in French yet, but it's really effective, and it has a really nice plugin on Zoom. So back to when you can't attend a meeting, I'll go from the obvious part now, is that you're just gonna answer all the questions mentioned in the previous message or doc, and you're gonna give your update async by writing a message or a doc. Maybe you can do a quick loom, so screen recorded about it, and that's all. Sorry, this one was kind of obvious. I got a second trick for this one, is that, so I'm an Android developer. I will get close to the iOS one, because it's very likely we're working on the same feature, and maybe they are not on the same time zone, so they're gonna be able to attend to the meeting. So I ask the iOS people to be my voice in a meeting, so it's just about having someone speaking for you. It will be the same message than writing it in a doc or in Slack, but it's giving a human touch. So it's gonna give some weight to you. It's gonna give you some presence, which is still important in a company. For example, to evolve inside the company. So, yep. Also, you are going to feel a lot of fear of missing out. And my only advice for that is tame it. You're gonna live with it. So now we have more tools to live in async remote work. And I'm going to talk a little bit about you. Let's take in the case you are joining a time zone configuration company. I would say the first thing to do, the most important thing to do, is to define your time of work. Define what it is important for you, what time do you need what. Maybe it's a conversation to have with your family. Maybe your partner is going to have to take up more about the kid on the evening and stuff. And also, be kind to yourself. Don't push on going to say, I can do 9 a.m., 9 p.m. We are not machines. We need to have personal time. So, yep. And then when you have determined that, your needs, be explicit about it with your coworker, with your managers, and everyone. You won't be alone to have to take the kid at school and after school. You are not alone having a sports session or whatever is in your life. And others gonna understand, and it should be okay. But let's be honest, you will have to make a concession, because the company also has needs from you. That's why you're employed by the company. But have in mind, it will be easier to make those concessions because you are mostly working remotely. So what I mean is that having a meeting at 6:30 to 7 p.m. is kind of easier because you don't have to take the subway for more than an hour than to get back home. You're already home. So it's kind of easier to get that. So leverage that flexibility this new kind of work is giving you. For example, I know my coworkers say it's easier to go drop the kid at school in the morning. So that's how it is. This flexibility means also that something that might work, for example, on Monday, Tuesday, won't work on Wednesday. So you will always have to juggle with all that constraint, and that's it. So it's about finding the middle ground between what the company needs you and what you need from the company and on your time. And when you don't find a way, when there is no middle ground, it should be okay. You can't attend that part of a company event. It's okay, go asynchrone, sorry. Be clear, make your voice count, and somehow it should be able to work. So after joining the company, you have finally find your pace. After 6 months, a year, everything works like a Swiss clock. And surprise, the company is going to do a reorganization, whatever, something gonna change. And you're not part of the same team anymore. And most of your coworkers are working in a farther time zone. And spoiler alert, back at it, we are here again. We need to find a new way to balance work and life. Sadly, it's gonna happen. It will happen again and again. And I think this is normal in a company life. Team and structure gonna change. You're gonna grow. Project gonna change. People gonna leave. So that's okay. What I find important to do in that case is be very explicit. If something gets wrong, speak to your manager, speak to your coworker. I hope everyone will be kind and will have some way to help you as a team. Yes. Okay, if you were expecting from this talk that I'm going to say that nobody need to shift hours, I mean starting later, finishing later, sorry, or if somebody told you that can work, I would say it's kind of a lie because it will always happen. At some point, there will be a project that's gonna need you to shift your hours because you will be, for example, you will maybe need to peer with someone completely not on the time zone. What you need in that case is to assess how long it will stay that way. I mean, if it's just for 2-3 weeks, 1 or 2 days a week, it can be kind of okay. So yes, see how long you can sustain it. The idea is still to be able to sustain this lifestyle for a while. And yes, but even in simple case like us, it's kind of hard. So always remember, it's not a one-person job to handle time zones. It's a company effort. So when in doubt, don't hesitate to reach to someone inside the company. They always have the same kind of difficulty. Yep. And if some people want to share some tricks or have questions, it's now.
I think my company is very similar to yours in that there's sort of 2 distinct groups, time zone wise. And obviously it's always much easier to communicate to people within your time zone. Yes. Do you have any tips to how to prevent that forming a form of tribalism of we're this team and you're that team when we're all trying to get to the same yes. destination in the end?
So I would say something that has been helping us is to well know about our coworkers, even those who are the further. So have moment together, maybe try something we are doing that is working. What I mean is that you need to break the time barrier and get to know each other, give a human touch. So if you know someone, it's easier to have, for example, casual Slack messaging and try to enforce you to have a human communication with them. So what we do is that we have a presentation, internal presentation about your hobbies, about your passion. And it gets you to know better who are your coworkers. So for example, I have one coworker that is making fireworks. So every time there is the 4th of July, she's American, I ask her if she made some fireworks and stuff like that. So it's about getting into human. It will tend to get siloed, like you mentioned. you need to enforce to break the barrier. It's everyone's job, yes, back to it. And also something to be to have in mind is sometimes there can be some culture gap, especially between France, US, and Asia and other continents. So, yep.